Jackson Podcast.
Thank y'all for tuning in to my show, man. Y'all far too kind to be tapping in, wanting to discuss this history, learn this history, and help me out in the comment section also so I can get a better understanding of the history. Because when I do these shows, it's for learning purposes. I don't really be trying to tell people how to think, tell people what they need to do, what we need to do, and all of that old type of stuff. That's not the energy that I'm on. I really create for awareness. And I was listening to this brother this weekend because I was out of town, man, enjoying my wife's birthday, having a great time, just living life. And I was listening to a few Stokely Carmichael interviews and conversations. And I wanted to create another episode for the historically speaking playlist that's on the channel. So on that playlist, I've had Judge Joe Brown conversate with me on there. I highlighted Dr. Thomas Sowell. We did some things about Dr. Claude Anderson's speech that he had, and we talked about the Moynihan Report, Wilmington's Dark Day, the Red Summers, just so many good conversation pieces in that playlist that if a person is interested in learning history, I suggest they go there. But this specific video, I said I want to present this video to the family. I hope y'all willing to conversate with me in the comment section. I just want to spread awareness. And this video was about retaliation. The 60s was a pivotal time in black history, and it's one of the most historical decades with so many things that had happened with King, with Fred Hampton, with Malcolm X, with now that I'm learning more about Stokely Carmichael. It's just interesting. And to be honest with you, I know people are identifying with FBA. It's a new terminology that people are trying to get the reparations and create a lineage that was already created, but identify with a lineage so the government can know where reparations can specifically go to. That's my knowledge of what FBA was created for with Tariq Nasheed. So this brother right here, he was born in the islands and he died in the islands, but he fought for black Americans in the United States. He fought for rights. He talked about capitalism. And he had this to say about retaliation. We're going to get right to it, man.
When white America killed Dr. King last night, she opened the eyes for every black man in this country. When white America got rid of Marcus Garvey, she did it and she said he was an extremist. He was crazy. When they got rid of Brother Malcolm X, they said he was preaching hate. He deserved what he got. But when they got rid of Brother Martin Luther King, they had absolutely no reason to do so. He was the one man in our race who was trying to teach our people to have love, compassion, and mercy for what white people had done. When white America killed Dr. King last night, she declared war on us. There will be no crying, there will be no funerals. The rebellions that have been occurring around the cities of this country is just light stuff to what is about to happen. We have to retaliate for the death of our leaders. The execution of those deaths will not be in the courtrooms. They're going to be in the streets of the United States of America. When white America killed Dr. King last night, she made a whole lot easier for a whole lot of black people today. There no longer needs to be intellectual discussions. Black people know that they have to get guns. White America will live to cry that she killed Dr. King last night. It would have been better if she had killed Rat Brown and or Stokely Carmichael. But when she killed Dr. King, she lost. When white America killed Dr. King last night, she opened the eyes for every black man in this country.
Let me skip around,
When
y'all.
white America got rid of Marcus Garvey, there will be...
The reason I say I'm going to skip around is because I knew it, but I didn't remember. He said that twice. You know, the intro to the conversation, he said that twice. But before we get back into it, I want to say something because it's a lot of things in just that minute that sparked my interest, because what he's talking about, to be honest, is still so relevant today, even though, you know, the people that's dying isn't really leaders. I don't know if it's that many leaders, but by example, it's not that many people leading that wants to be leaders, because people don't want to face the consequences of leading, but it's people out here that's leading by example. Now, he said it's time to stop the intellectual conversations. Black people don't need intellectual conversations. You know, it's time to retaliate in the streets. Me personally, I'm tired of identifying with the social construct. White, black, it really doesn't exist, man. That's why it's so important for you to find out your lineage and where your people come from and inform yourself with information. But the awareness of this is a jewel, because what he was speaking of was a physical race war. And if it was relevant for what had happened to King then, it's still relevant for that today, because the capitalist system has worked so flawlessly that these things have been repetitively happens since the 60s, and it's still going on today. Let me let them cook.
There will be no crying, there will be no funerals. The rebellions that have been occurring around the cities of this country is just light stuff to what is about to happen. We have to retaliate for the death of our leaders. The execution of those deaths will not be in the courtrooms. They're going to be in the streets of the United States of America. When white America killed Dr. King last night, she made a whole lot easier for a whole lot of black people today. There no longer needs to be intellectual discussions. Black people know that they have to get guns. White America will live to cry that she killed Dr. King last night. It would have been better if she had killed Rat Brown and or Stokely Carmichael. But when she killed Dr. King, she lost. Okay.
I want you people to listen clearly. This press conference will be for only 5 minutes. And as soon as the press conference is over, you gentlemen will not leave anything in here that you didn't bring in here. Your films, your cigarette butts, you take them with you. If you're wasting the water, you will have to clean it up. We have a few questions afterwards, 2 minutes questioning. To my right, extreme right, is Mr. Cleve Sellers, Director of the Orangeburg, South Carolina Project SNCC. So right here, immediately right is Stokely Carmichael, who is on staff here in Washington, D.C. And to my left, Mr. Winky Hall, who is also a member of the staff of Washington. Myself, Lester McKinney, Director of the Washington SNCC office. Mr. Carmichael will speak to you for 5 minutes.
As you may or may not know, this press conference was called before Dr. King was murdered. We called it then to deal with our brother Rat Brown, because we were very upset that Brother Rat Brown had been in jail for 41 days, and Governor Agnew of Maryland still seems to persist with his nonsensical charge, and so the brother can't get out of jail. Now, we want the brother out of jail next week when he comes for trial. Now, as to Dr. King's murder...
Before any question, I'd like to give one statement from the organization. We, the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee, wish to extend our condolences to the family of the late Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King, Jr., who was brutally murdered today in Memphis, Tennessee. In his death, there is a lesson which white America has taught us many times before. This lesson was clear in the murder of our four brothers in Orangeburg. This lesson was clear in the murder of the 16 years old Larry Payne in Memphis. This lesson is clear in the day-to-day torture of black people by white people in America and throughout the world. It was to end this torture that Dr. King bravely faced death many times, non-violently. Dr. King was a brother who dedicated his life to liberating his people through nonviolence. Dr. King was a symbol of nonviolence, and white Americans shot him down.
There's one last comment about these news things about last night. We will tell you where we were last night. Last night we led all of those youngsters up and down the streets to close every store in this area because Dr. King was shot and they should have closed those stores. Now, some of them kicked glass store window in. We're not stopping them from kicking in the store windows. We're stopping them from coming out on the streets without guns. When they come out on the streets, we want them with guns. If they don't have guns, we're not going to let them throw bricks and bottles at guns. But when they get guns, we'll be on the streets.
Question if you have any questions.
Mr. Carmichael, don't you believe that the vast majority of Americans feel just as badly as you do about what happened in Memphis?
The white press, and that's from Hunky Lyndon Johnson to Hunky Bobby Kennedy, will not co-opt Dr. Martin Luther King. Dr. Martin Luther King fought for his people. It was not but 4 weeks ago when Johnson told King that if he came marching into the district, he'd meet a force because he should bring his trouble to him. And now tonight he's trying to make as if Dr. King was his hero. He fools no one. Bobby Kennedy pulled that trigger just as well as anybody else. Because when Dr. King was down in the South and Bobby Kennedy was Attorney General, every time a black person got killed, Kennedy wouldn't move because he wanted votes. So he's just as guilty. All of white America killed Dr. King. And those who feel sorry ought to feel sorry.
Carmichael, what do you intend to do? What action?
I'm going to let him finish giving his take, and then I want to play an interview of this brother talking about capitalism, because I think that, you know, he shows solidarity. He showed unification with Dr. Martin Luther King, because this brother, after listening to a few of his conversations, he wasn't for integration. King was for integration. He was for building, you know, through us and on our own. And what's interesting about this also, because I listen to a lot of brothers talk nowadays, and they speak as if they're leaders and they in their community doing things that is uplifting, and I commend them on that, or for even attempting it though. But I can't be fooled, man. I've been winning for a long time though. I can't be fooled with the foolishness. And I understand how the government and the opposition obtained their power. And listening to him speak about the retaliation, there needs to be retaliation, is because they obtained their power through violence and fear. I don't know how many times I'm going to have to say that on this channel, but they obtained their violence through their power through violence and fear. And that's just the fact of the matter, man. You know, identifying with black nowadays is totally different than identifying as black then, because, you know, people are separating black now. If you from the islands, you from here, you from there, you're not American black, you're not Jamaican black, you're not Jamaican African. It's a delineation going on, rightfully so, because people are understanding who they are. It's just that people need to understand also that this fight is going to require something that I don't think a lot of people are ready for. Let me let them continue.
Do you intend to take relative to Rap Brown and your attempt to get him out?
We decided at our Central Committee meeting that if Maryland persists with this nonsensical charge, even though the report said that Rap did not incite any riot in Cambridge, well then Governor Agnew, he ain't seen nothing if he thinks he saw something on that Bowie State thing. We will take our troops back into Maryland, and all of us are veterans from Cambridge, Maryland, and from Baltimore, Maryland, and we will turn that state inside out and upside down. And we've got Louisiana to get. We've got some brothers working in Florida. We've got some brothers working in Ohio, and we're going to get Richmond, Virginia.
Carmichael, what do you think will happen to the Poor People's Campaign now?
I understand that the Southern Christian Leadership Conference.
You know, he said will take our troops inside Maryland and turn it inside out. This brother was speaking of war. In 2025, like all of these conversations about financial literacy and buying back our land and communities and blah, 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 blah. If you ain't ready for war, stop. It's more Mexicans and migrants in this country than us at the moment. And the military is owned by the U.S. government. And they getting out of line and they shipping their ass right back to where they came from. I ain't saying that a war ain't good. But damn it, you're gonna lose, big dog. It's crazy. It sounds like what I'm speaking about is there's no fight. And there shouldn't be no fight. Or it sounds but probably like I'm a sucker or something though, to some people. But they obtain their power through violence and fear. They kept their power through violence and fear with the Wilmington Massacre, with Tulsa, Oklahoma, with the things that happened in St. Petersburg, when black people started getting their financial structure going and growing. And I think that in our reality with the way AI is developing, it's over for any race. Like, you know, it's over. They get ready to be taking jobs, communities, companies. People think that I'm a boss, I own this company. Man, AI can shut your whole company down. Not just take your job, but shut your whole company down. But we ain't talking about AI. It's just that these brothers was ready for war in the 60s. Are we ready for war in 2025? If we want to unify, is that something that y'all really ready for? Because all this jibber jabber and talking shit, that ain't gonna cut it.
Conference will carry it on, and as you said before, we will be glad to give them any support. Whatever the Southern Christian Leadership Conference asked for today, we will give to them, except our tears. We will give no more tears for any black man killed in this country.
Carmichael, do you see anybody replacing Dr. King as a non-violent leader?
No, that's why America lost when she shot him down last night. We're waiting for what the Southern Christian Leadership Conference wants us to do.
When you say the execution of those deaths will be not in the courtroom but the street, can you be a little more specific about the course of action you expect?
I think that is quite explicit.
I'm getting ready to pull up the next clip where he talks about capitalism, because I think that the financial structure is important also in America. Like just the conversation of
Say the massive struggle.
the conversation of the financial structure in America is important. But something that I noticed about that last video before, I get up off of this thing and talk about the capitalism piece is that the media, you know, feeling like you're ready for war and seeing your brothers fall that standing for unification and standing for the integration and the uplifting of your people and all people and stuff like that, and then have then to talk to the opposite side's race about your intentions of what you're doing is kind of demoralizing to me, just to me, because they don't even really need to hear that message. You really don't want to speak that message to them. And I'm not really an individual for hatred of another culture or another race. I'm a person that travel to other countries and I like to experience other races in other countries. It ain't that I'm against people, period. I live a beautiful, wonderful life. I don't have a niche life. I have a very complex experience on this planet. So hearing this brother speak like that and hearing how aggressive he was speaking, talking about we militarized and we'll go into Maryland and terrorize some shit. And he was speaking to the white media was interesting because nowadays, even though I don't see any specific leader, because a lot of people who identify with FBA, it was created by Tariq Nasheed. It's a lineage. Just I don't consider him a leader, but a lot of people go to him for more information and seeking knowledge and all of that, and more knowledge. And people go to YouTube to hear these people talk and speak. And in our reality, ain't man, these people is getting bread off of these conversations. They ain't down to die about your beliefs, and everybody don't have the same beliefs. We're not a monolith. But just hearing him speak to white media was just interesting to me because they didn't have independent media like we do today. Let me let them cook about capitalism.
And then the capitalist system gives us an individual who advances, maybe the first one to work for IBM, the first one to work for Coca-Cola, who knows. And this first one is so confused that they actually think that by being a first one to work for IBM, that they have been a credit to the race. Indeed, they believe they have advanced the race. There's nothing but clear stupidity, backward thinking, confusion by the capitalist system. If the masses of our people suffer for our advancement, progress only comes when the masses advance. If the masses do not progress, there's no progress at all. If one knows this, there's no discussion about since the 60s. Certainly since the 60s, many individuals have climbed up. Some have become mayors, some basketball players, some football players, some on television, some movie directors. All of this is a result of the struggles of the masses of the people. But the conditions of the masses of our people become worse. For someone to discuss progress means that they're clearly confused. There's been no progress for our people. The conditions are worse. The only progress for our people is the rising consciousness of the masses, which will never stop. Aside from the rising consciousness of our people, the conditions are worse for the masses of our people. If you have rising consciousness and worse conditions, there's no question you're heading for the path of revolution. It's quite clear. You say you must not, of course, let the capitalist system confuse you. You must come for yourself to decide for yourself. The system makes you lazy, you know. I'm willing to bet you, without knowing any of you as students, this is my first time here in some years. I think it's my first time ever coming here, as a matter of fact. I'm willing to bet you that no more than 3% of the students here read books outside of their assigned books by their professors. If they
Man, I wish I could find a longer piece of him talking about capitalism and revolution. And I would like for y'all to put some links in the comment section to help me further that discussion and help me learn more. Because, at the end of the day, capitalism is the system that everybody from other countries is running to so they can be a part of it over here. And a lot of individuals will say that there is other countries like Germany and stuff doing better, but I haven't experienced a country that is financially thriving with a multitude of individuals that's thriving like America. They may be in another system, but it's majority of their own people. Now, when he spoke about masses advancing, the masses advancing, that really caught my attention because we wonder why, like, the LeBrons, the Oprahs, the Michael Jordans, the Diddy's, the Jay Z's, the people that's multi-billionaire individuals don't come together and help their people thrive. you know, it's a few advance, but the masses never advance. And the few that do advance, they never think about helping the communities or helping their people or creating something. Even though me being in Charlotte, North Carolina, I see a few of the things that Michael Jordan does. Like he has a library, he has a place where people can go get checked up for free, like a health clinic, a couple of them. He spends money in the city and he helps out in the city, but creating a structure where your people can be more financially successful is crazy. But another thing that capitalism did is what he spoke about at the end. It was make people lazy, make people dependent upon the government doing and giving and living, and made it more convenient to be dependent. And that's interesting because it has never changed and it's so embedded in the American system today that I can't see it changing now. He's talking about this in the 60s. That was 70 years ago, 60, 70 years ago. I don't see it changing, man. That's just my opinion. Hey, I appreciate y'all tuning in. Educate me in the comment section. Converse with me in the comment section. Chop it up with the kid, man. I appreciate y'all, man. Peace, love, plenty of abundance. Make sure you go get you some money. And I'm gone.
The Trevor Jackson Podcast.